All right, today's the day after Christmas. We're going to be grinding some meat for hamburgers, making some very own homemade hamburgers here. The first thing we're going to do is make sure we have a nice full glass of bourbon. We're going to use a 2-inch frozen cube for the bourbon. That's going to melt really slow and give a nice texture to our bourbon. Making sure, since we're using power tools, we're going to make sure we have alcohol involved. So what we're operating here with is an Artisan KitchenAid standard model. For Christmas, I did get a 1982 style meat grinder attachment for the KitchenAid here. We're going to try that out for the first time. You're going to get to walk us through it. I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube to make sure that we're doing it correctly. I bought a 2.5 pound chuck roast piece of beef. It does expire December 31st. 2025, so we're going to go ahead and do this tonight to make sure we can eat our burgers and have some leftover ground meat. So according to the YouTube videos I watched, I went ahead and cut these up into little 1 to 2 inch cubes. I put them in the deep freezer because they did say that you want to make sure they're cold before you grind them up. Something about fatty schmears, things like that. I don't know for a fact, but I went ahead and did it because that's what the video said to do. So I have these cut up nice into little cubes. I'm going to go ahead and take out my parts. They did say to freeze those parts. It's going to work better if you freeze them. That's what they said, so that's what I did. So here we have the Christmas present from my father-in-law, Larry Moore. Shout out. You can actually see, maybe if you look in close, the actual frost on the plastic from putting it in the freezer. What I'm going to do now is just go ahead and attach it to the KitchenAid itself. Now what you're going to want to do is lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Got a nice little connection. Go ahead and put it in the screw. Got it nice and tight there. I started off with the first bit, which is the larger holes. Going to get more of a ground, like more of a wider, open style thing. And we're going to run it through for the first pass on the larger setting. And set that on... See, we're going to go ahead and set it on 4. I've got this little tool here to push it through, and let's just see what happens. Coming out nice and ground. Look at that. It's just grinding the meat just like it's supposed to do. And this is working really well. This is just meat grinding and bourbon drinking. Oh yeah, it's grinding now. And it's grinding some meat. You can hear it grinding, and you can see it grinding, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and put some meat in there. Just go ahead and just drop it in there. Drop it like it's hot, although it's actually cold, because that's what the videos have said to do. I'm going to make sure it's in there. This is coming out pretty nice. Didn't know how this was going to work. And this is a lot of hard work. You can see these little pieces of meat. They get heavy over time. What first felt like an ounce now actually feels like 3 or 4 ounces. And so I'm just going to go ahead and keep dropping it in there, and it's going to keep grinding. I'm just dropping the meat in there, and the KitchenAid is actually doing the grinding. But the KitchenAid can't grind without me, and I can't grind without the KitchenAid. So we're kind of a team, a meat grinding team. And that's what we're going to do, is just keep grinding this meat so that my family can experience what I never experienced as a child, and that is fresh ground meat hamburgers. Most of the time we would go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, go to places that would make hamburgers already, or we would buy store-bought ground beef. But everything I've watched online has told me, you know what, it's just not the same. You get the experience of grinding the meat. You get to see it grind for yourself. You get to know that you're actually eating hamburger and not some other things that people may have speculated that's actually in the hamburgers. So we know it. I bought it myself. I'm grinding it myself. I know what's in it. So there's a lot of people out there that say, you know what? I want to have a hamburger. I want to eat a hamburger, but I don't know what's in it. I know it looks like a hamburger. So here we are grinding it ourselves, and I know that this is actual premium chuck roast that I just went ahead and got at the Rouse's. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, how do you know you got a chuck roast at the Rouse's and not something else? Well, there's just going to be a little bit of trust there that's going to have to happen where I know that I'm buying actual chuck roast and it looks like chuck roast and it's more than likely going to be chuck roast. So I'm just going to go ahead and operate under this presumption that this is actually chuck roast. But it is doing really well. It's grinding. I am noticing that just like a lot of the videos had said on the YouTube, that these chunks on the first setting are a little coarse. And so I don't know if this is going to be the consistency that I want for actual hamburgers. Now I'm going to just go ahead and walk up to the camera but you can see that nice ground. It's really nice and ground, but it is not the kind of consistency that one might want for a hamburger. So what I'm going to go and do is a second pass, and they call this the pass of glory in a lot of the YouTube video chefs. And this is when your burger goes from a really good burger to an amazing burger. And that's what we're shooting for here. We're shooting for an amazing burger, not just a good burger. And some people say, well, yeah, sure, it's great to have a good burger and you might be able to experience a great evening with your family over the barbecue pit or the barbecue grill with a good burger. But what we're shooting for here is an experience. And we're shooting for the kind of experience that only comes with an amazing burger. And so that's why you may say, why do a second pass? Why do a second pass with the smaller thing? That's why. But what I'm doing, oh look, I'm pouring that out here, and I'm gonna go for pass number 2. So pass number 2 is essentially, you take the first pass and you do exactly what you think it is. It's not a trick, you're just gonna do it again. We did the first pass. I'm gonna turn around here and make sure I'm on setting number 4. I am on setting number 4. And so what I'm doing is just taking it and I'm putting it back in. Put it back in. Now I don't want to get my fingers grinded, so I'm going to use this little pusher tool here. I'm just going to go ahead and just push it in. And you can see. Alright, so now we're going on pass number 2. What I've done is I've changed out the larger circle blade thingy into a blade thingy that's got smaller circles, so it's going to be finer. And I'm going to use this pusher tool to go ahead and push this through. Here we go. You can see it's going to come out. If you ever played with Play-Doh as a kid, this is that. I mean, you didn't know it, but as a kid, when you were pushing Play-Doh through the thing and making all the cool stuff, this is what you were training for as a young man or as a young woman who wants to grind their own meat. This is it. So I'm just putting it in here, just dropping it in, and letting the KitchenAid do the work. And this is, you can't see it on the video here, but this is some of the best ground meat I've ever seen. You get it in the store, yeah, sure, it looks red, it looks pink, but you really don't know how it looks in the middle. And I'm telling you, this is some good looking meat. Just pushing it in here, making it there, just dropping it in, pushing it. And this is what it's all about. America. Hamburgers, ground beef, doing it yourself. Well, with the KitchenAid, but still, there's something to that. Something to be said about man and his meat, knowing that he made it and that he's going to eat it. And he's provided for his family one second pass at a time. Now what you can't see is the faces that my wife is making at me as I'm making this video. It's a cross between pride and this guy's an idiot. Why is he in our kitchen making a video? And you ask myself, why are you making this video? Why are you making a video about making hamburgers yourself? And I say, you know what? Because there's a dad out there who has been buying Wendy's burgers, McDonald's burgers for years for his children, combo meals. And there's a level of shame that comes along with that as a man that we don't like to talk about at parties. we don't like to talk about. We've got our closest friends. So there's a man out there that says, you know what, I want to make hamburgers, but I don't know how to make my own meat. So what I'm going to do as a man is I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to look for a video just like I did on how to do it. And maybe you stumble across this video and you say, you know what? Thank you. Now you can go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right now, because I'll be making videos about how to do other things around the house, like macaroni and cheese, oatmeal, scrambled eggs, all sorts of things that take a lot of special skill that you can follow me, like me, and I'll go ahead and teach you how to do all those things for your family. Alright, so this is coming out really nice. And see, if you notice, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but we have a pug, and that pug, for most of her life, has eaten dog food. And every now and then she'll get some food that falls on the floor. And I don't know whether or not ground beef that's not cooked is deadly or not. But that is something I'm thinking about as I'm grounding this meat, is I want to make sure that everything is actually going into this bowl here. And it's not just to make sure we're recouping our investment and not losing any ground meat, but it's also about saving dogs' lives. Because there's a part of me that's thinking right now, what happens if a little chunk flies out? If I do it too fast? If I get impatient? If I'm not following the rules, is the little piece of ground meat going to fly off and kill my dog? And so we think about what we want to do tonight and making good burgers. It's also about saving lives and saving dogs' lives, because everything matters. Every second matters. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the video in just a second, and I'm going to show you the patties that I'm going to make with a special patty making tool that we also got for Christmas a few years ago. So it's kind of a Christmas from the past. All right, we're back now. What I've done is I've taken this bowl of the ground meat that you saw in the first part. What we're going to do now is make the patties, because you can't just eat ground meat. It looks really amazing. I want to eat it. I know my dog wants to eat it. I know my family would like to eat it, but it's just not something you can actually eat without making it into a hamburger. So what we're going to do is I got this stuffed brand by Good Cook. It's actually going to help you make the patties into a circle, because a lot of people that wonder, why do you eat hamburgers that are shaped in a circle? Well, it's because buns are shaped in a circle, and so that's why we're going to go ahead and make them into circles and just stick with what works. Notice I'm not going to mash it too much, and I'm not adding any seasoning to the burger. And that's something for 49 years I have been doing when I made burgers, is I would add the seasoning to the ground meat and then add the burgers. So after going down this rabbit hole on the internet, a lot of them said, you know what, you don't want to do that, because it does a lot of stuff with the natural proteins in the meat. You just want to take that ground meat and then just make a nice little patty here. What we're doing is now, look at that. That is what it's supposed to look like. And that is a beautiful hand ground burger patty. Goal here is trying to get enough burgers for me to eat today, but also coming back and say, you know what, I might want to eat something tomorrow. I might want to have a leftover burger. I want to have a breakfast burger. And again, this is patty number 4. So we've got some really good patties on 1, 2, and 3. Mashing it down with 7.5 pounds, and that's important. I don't want to go 10 pounds because it's just too much. Here's the trick. Now I've got this meat, and it looks like I can make one big one or 2 smaller ones, and that's a choice you have to make as a person. Do you want to make one big patty, or do you want to make 2 smaller patties? And what I've done is I said, you know what, those smaller patties are really going to be too small. So I'm just making one bigger patty, and I'm mashing a little more. Look at that beautiful 5 hamburger patties, round to this. And we're going to season them now. What I'll do is I'll season the top of them with salt and pepper and a little bit of Tony's. Don't want to get too crazy with it. And then I will put them on the grill. 5 amazing hand ground burgers. Now these burgers have been seasoned with a little bit of Tony's Creole seasoning, some sea salt, and some black pepper. And so you'll notice how round they are.
And then another reindeer, but
Beauty.
it's a different thing. I love it. That one's the cutest.
Here we are on our grill. I'm going to go ahead and throw a shout out to Weber because they make the best grills. And noticing I'm right around 375. This is after I've just flipped them, cooking about 375 for 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close this grill now and let the grill do the work.
Recording everything.
This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like.
Delicious.